Good evening. Welcome to Fiona, Furey and Friends, coming to you live from the Boca Creative Studio in Sea Point, Cape Town. If you hear background bustle, it's because we are shooting live. We have a fabulous audience. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, obviously, Sea Point is a very bustly neighborhood, so if you hear background noise, that's why. Also, it is 40 degrees outside, almost. So if on the stage we all look a little bit shiny, it's because we're literally quite hot. Let me introduce my panelists or my guests this evening. I'm so excited about tonight's show. To my immediate right, one of my favorite recording artists, and I don't say that to all of them, it is the one who sings, the artist formerly known as Zolani Mahola. And I'm so excited to talk to you. In fact, everyone knows each other because this is Cape Town. Sitting to Zolani's right, one of my favorite fashion designers, and I love his dresses so much, and I'm hoping he's going to dress me for something going forward when I get nominated for for anything, when I get nominated for anything. I'm going to put it out there. Jacques Lagrange, thank you so much. And last but never least, one of South Africa's best comedians, Ms. Shimmy Isaacs. Yes. Actually, I want to start with Shimmy because I was doing, when I was looking up, obviously you research, so I Googled Shimmy Isaacs. First thing that came up was Shimmy Isaacs' husband. And I thought, ooh, that girl has been busy.
You never know, baby, you never know.
Listen,
pronouns change like the weather.
Listen, girl, I thought you'd gone back in the closet on me.
Oh, no, darling, I wouldn't be going back in the closet. I'd be going forward in the closet.
Forward in the closet, right. But that was the first thing that came up. The second thing that came up was Shimmy Isaacs, one of South Africa's top 10 female comedians. And that pissed me off so much because I was like, why? Why is female in that sentence? Because you are one of South Africa's top 10 stand-up comedians.
That is true.
There's only about 10 female stand-up comedians in the
no,
country
we're not
anyway.
10. I see 10.
Exactly. So I was like, why are you just roping her in? Because the fact is you are one of the best stand-up comedians, I think, in the country.
Thank you so much.
And the fact that through female, then I was like, what do you think she's in? This like the delegation or your relegation team. I don't know. It's like you are the best. Anyway, so there you go.
Thank you.
Now that I've got that off my chest, what have you been up to?
Well, coming here this evening, let me just tell you, because, it takes a lot of work to show up like this. Yes. I literally just emailed one of my episodes because I'm actually busy writing one of my sitcoms at the moment that got picked up by Mnet. And then last year, I wrote a new 13-part comedy series for the SABC, which have gone into production, and they're busy filming that.
Yeah.
And I'd written a feature rom-com for Gambit. So I know everybody knows me as a comedian, but I would like to reintroduce myself as Shimmy Isaacs, the artist.
Yes.
Yes. I think people forget that I studied film. Actually, so I have my degrees in screenwriting.
Actually, I wanted to talk about that as well because Eddie Kazar, actually, who does a lot of comedy festivals, he tells a nice story about you. He said you first came to Cape Town from Worcester.
Yeah.
And you tried to get in. Was it your AFTA? And
they
said no. And you would not go away until they took you in. And now, fast forward a few years, you actually lecture there.
Well, I lectured for a little bit, and I think what people need to understand is that it didn't just happen when I came here. I was 17 when I left Worcester, graduated matric when I was 16. I was quite young, going on to 17. And then I came to Cape Town with a dream. And, the law of attraction would have it that my journey was a little bit different. So, but what I did with every little bit of money that I made as a waitress, as a retail person, I would take that money and I would actually go and attend acting workshops. And so by the time I got to EFTA, I was quite ahead of the other kids because I had done workshops at that time with the best of the best. Greg Watt was a gentleman that lived in New York, came here. So I had done workshops at that time with Juliette Binoche. So everyone that came into the country, he would get and have come and do master classes. Samuel L. Jackson was one of them. You know when they were filming that Red thing with that Hilary Swank lady? So by the time I got to EFTA, I was 21.
The Oscar winners. Just
oh no, you have to.
It's like name dropping.
No, you have to, and I think we need to stand proud in the success
you do, absolutely.
and the experiences that we've had. And so when I got to EFTA, I was 21. And why I didn't take no for an answer is because I knew that the admin girl daar agter joite my file gelees. No man, listen, I'm colored, I know how it goes. I know how it goes. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
And
well, yeah.
I remember when I was turned away, I'd never cried so much in my life because it just feels like your heart gets ripped when you hear a no over something that you're so determined to do and you just know you were born to do. Garth Holmes, the founder of EFTA, got hold of my file. And he had noticed all of these credits and workshops and things that I have accumulated over the years. He noticed how I've done that, and I got a direct call from him. I took attitude. No, that's fine. Whatever, I will go listen to what he has to say. And I did. I sat in front of him. Just you smell the money, man. You just smell the money. You know, which is intimidating for somebody like me at that time. And then he said, what do you want? Do you want acting, directing? And I said, acting. And he asked me why. And I said, because I really want to have an understanding of human behavior, which is what acting offers me. And he put me straight into second year. He said, well, I think...
Very nice. Yeah. Fantastic. And also, well, I was actually going to talk about that, start as a comedian, but you are doing, obviously, the writing that you've mentioned already, but so much acting as well. Or is that just what I see on Facebook? You're in so many things. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think the reason probably why is that I really know how to navigate my brand. And I think it's very difficult, especially as a performer of color, in particular in South Africa. We're not as celebrated as actors and artists are abroad, you know. And that is something that I really wanted to navigate in this industry where people knew my name as opposed to a character. Because every actor that you guys know, you only know them by their character names. And it became imperative for me that people were going to know my name and that they were going to know that I'm an artist as opposed to a caricature.
Yeah.
And I think I've navigated that quite well. It's not been easy. You know, but when you stand in your principles and you stand in your values and trying to move the black and colored narrative into a different realm is really why I write today. It's why I write and it's why I produce, so that I have the opportunity to change the way that South Africans view themselves. And not just black and colored, but all South Africans.
The nice thing about you, actually, round of applause. The nice thing about you is, come on. Thank you, Zolan. The nice thing about you is that, like you said, people know your name. And people do know you as a stand-up comedian. And they know you as that funny girl. Not even that funny girl, that hilarious girl. So when people see you on TV playing quite serious roles, it's almost quite a shock. And it's that thing like people are like, God, she's really good. You know what I mean? It's that.
I like that.
And it's never the character that they remember with you. It's Shimmy Isaacs plays this character, and she's so good. And also you play such a variety of characters. You're not. You would imagine people who follow you as a comedian would think you would just do comic roles. Yeah. But you play drama really well.
Well,
I mean, I'm not calling you drama queen.
I agree with you because I never thought I was funny at university. All my accolades at university was for dramatic performances. Ek was daar met die Shakespeare, hoe waar for doth not ha. No, I was doing all of that. Wah, wah, wah. You know, so So when stand-up came into my life, it was when I just quit AFDA. And I was 26 years old. I had gone to New York, come back, I've taught, I've done all of these things, but I knew that I didn't have anything to teach. Because I was a kid and I was teaching adults, you know. I was smart, yes, but I had no experience in the business. And, you know, I'm pretty fearless. I'm a pretty fearless kid. Every time I get scared, I remind myself that I was 17 when I packed my bag and I came here walking in faith. So I always go back to that iconic moment, you know, because I think as we age, there are certain things that starts closing. You know, you're not as free, you're not as spontaneous, want jy is nou nie groot man, ek het skuld om te betaal, you know. And I think in that we lose our childlike mind and attitude towards life, irrespective of what age you are. And I just jumped in with both feet when Rustam August, my dear friend, came and said, "Do you want to do stand-up?" And I said, "Wat is dat?" I had no idea what it was because I'm a theater trainee. And he said, "It's a show where you just..." I said, "Oh, like a one-person show." No, I can do that because I'm just thinking theater. Then I got cash in hand that night.
That night, yeah.
Was, Muniba.
Yeah.
Was.
Yes.
I felt the notes. And I thought, why must I work 30
3
days
months,
for a company to pay me? You know, and so I had to capitalize on that. And I think I had a very keen understanding of the business, and I understood that stand-up comedy was going to catapult my career where people will know my name.
Nice. Let's move on to you.
The
one the one who sings. Zolani, I kind of get the sense at the moment that there's so much going on. You're in such a shifty space at the moment. Obviously, you left the band a few years ago, went solo, have collaborated with so many people. But I've been watching you on Instagram as well, and it's almost like a huge spiritual shift happening for you as well. And I love that you're so open about it. You're so really, really open, and there's something on Insta I mentioned to you before the show started. There's a clip of you on Insta and Facebook, and you're covered in clay, and then you literally breaking out of it. And it feels like that's a metaphor for you at the moment of where you are in your life, both creatively, both artistically, but also with the spiritual awakening, because you got the calling.
So, thanks for having me.
Oh, listen, thank you for coming on anytime.
I've got a calling of sorts. It's not quite the calling of ubungoma, sangoma, but it's a calling to step into who I truly am. And you know, this shifting space that you're talking about, for me, like I've been calling it very much like a liminal space, actually, where I've been going from one incarnation to another, and I feel like a lot of the time I feel like I'm in the middle of that, almost like a 1 foot in one place and 1 foot heading to another. And I've got a very clear idea sometimes of what that other being is, and I've named her. She's named. She's the one who sings.
The one who sings.
And
the one who sings beautifully.
But it's not fully clear, and I've had to come to peace with that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's also something that COVID has, one of the gifts of COVID is this letting go of who we thought we were, who I thought that I was. And so many things have shifted in my personal life, yes, leaving freshly ground, in terms of my purpose for the rest of my life and career. Yeah, so much has shifted.
I mean, one of the amazing shifts musically is, you know, you can see the solo tracks you're coming out with and solo music, and the collaborations are beautiful pieces of music, and very different to what you're doing with Freshly Ground. And it's so nice to see you coming out of that as Zolani, as opposed to Zolani from Freshly Ground.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, it was a big bold move, leaving Freshly Ground after 17 years, and that was at the it was nobody really realizes that it was that long.
Yeah.
Hey, it's funny, it's amazing. Yeah, it's like all these like 6 albums later, and having been all over the world, and nearly spending 20 years together. In fact, if we were still together, this would be our 20th year.
Wow.
But having come out of the safety and the comfort of a really successful, still touring band, in order to say or feel into who I am apart from, what my voice is apart from that of the collective, was a really big move. But, there comes a time, when you just, you almost don't have a choice. Hey? You almost don't have a choice, and you leave that nest.
Yeah.
Jump out.
Yeah.
Whether you're going to fly or whether you're going to, whatever.
Hope for the best.
But there's a knowing. There's a knowing. I feel like there's a knowing, and there's a trusting, a deep trust. That is a muscle that I've been honing and that I've been developing. And I think sounds like you had that at quite an early age, Shimi. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to feel. It's a really beautiful thing to feel. It's a gift.
Yeah.
True story.
That actually makes me feel old when you say 20 years, because I was at when you guys were first starting out at the Armchair Theatre. That's, yeah, Shimi's also like, that's,
I remember you.
Like, no, but it feels like, it feels like, well, actually, maybe it does feel like 17 years ago, but it doesn't feel like you go, God, okay, now that's how old I am, actually, because, I went to your Ella Fitzgerald show.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Very long ago.
That was ages ago.
But it's funny because I was thinking about that as well when I was, researching for the show. Part of that clip of you breaking out, I thought I felt so lucky to have witnessed your career as an outsider looking from doing the Ella Fitzgerald show and the Armchair Theatres and the smaller things to, things like Jazzathon and the bigger, getting bigger and bigger, stadium things, the World Cup, and then to see you paring it back and coming in as your own. I think that's one of the things with sort of age. You witness the evolution of artists, and the same with you, Shimi. You and I have been friends from the beginning of my career. Yeah, and pretty close to the beginning of mine. I will look a little bit of a head start on you, but it is that quite nice thing. I suppose for all of us looking at artists we admire or artists we like. It's not like a little snapshot of their career, like, I love Taylor Swift, there she is. It's you can actually see the evolution of people and the creative process of growing up, I think.
Yeah, and that's what's great actually also about these times of the social medias. You can see it even more in real time.
Stalking.
Yeah. Okay, stalking. Yeah.
No, it's
wonderful.
Yeah. We are going to go for a quick break in a minute. It's very hot on the stage, so I think the four of us need a bit of a lights off to get some fresh air as well. Yeah, that sounds good. But also, all our audience are desperate for another drink as well. We're going to have a quick break. We will be back. Do stay tuned. More of my fabulous guests coming back.
Maurice Merlingson's mind swirled with ideas. So, What's the story, Morris?
But it was never the right time to share his work. The demand was only a distraction.
Darling, just share.
Dad, I have a story.
With innovation as his only destination, he set off for new discoveries, a land of uncharted stories. No idea was worth sharing until he had redefined perfection. But the perfect discovery had left him behind.
Hey, you look like you've been on a journey. So what's your story?
For exceptional ideas are meant to be shared.
Welcome back to Fiona, Furey and Friends. Hello, audience. Thank you for being patient. We had to give our audience a little bit of a break. We are, like I said, coming to you live from the Boca Creative Studio in Sea Point, and they had to take advantage of the Sea Point vibe and also get a little bit of fresh air outside because it's very, very hot in the studio. Speaking of hot, in the hot seat now, Jacques Lagrange. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I love your dresses so much. Like I said, when I'm nominated one day for anything, I love your dresses so much. We were talking about what a small world Cape Town is, because I was going through looking at your dresses and thinking, oh, they're so stunning, and then clicked on something about Zolani, and then saw Zolani in this beautiful pink dress with a big bow, and I thought, that is a Jacques Lagrange dress. You know, when you can see it, when you get used to someone's kind of design aesthetic, and I thought I could see it a mile away. It was stunning, and I clicked. It was like, yes, there we go, beautiful.
Thank you very much.
What is your? Let's talk about your clothes. Let's talk about your fabulous dresses, because I love the simplicity, but they're extremely beautiful, exquisitely beautiful, but so simple.
Well, I'm a very plain and simple person, but over the top at the same time. And people don't understand it, but that's fucking me. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I love quality, I love beauty, I love classic, but with a twist. And there's always a bow involved because I feel women are gifts, and that's why I wrap them in Jacques Lagrange couture.
Yes! I love that! I know. And all of us on the stage are like, oh, I suddenly love you even more. And your use of color, I love it, that beautiful, vivid colors. You're not afraid of, it says me in like drab black this evening, but I love that, that beautiful, almost like sumptuous color.
Vibrant pink. I mean, I love color, but also black. Black is the most beautiful color on the planet. That's why I love black. And if I can create a collection with black, I will do it every day for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So,
But it's your pinks that I love. The pink dress Zolani was in.
that's a glitz and the glam of Paris. You like the va-va-voom.
I do. I think I think I will be a drag queen in my next life. Yes. Yes. I think it's my inner self. I think everyone in the audience is laughing because they know me so well. I think it's my alter ego, you know, Miss Fifi Deluxe.
Well, I like creating dresses. I don't want to wear my own dresses. I just want to say that.
Yeah. What? But you dress. I mean, your dresses. I mean, you've got to book you like a year in advance or something. I mean, it's not like you can just walk in and go, I'll take that one.
I don't want to brag, but I am fully booked for the rest of the year. Last year was...
Yeah, no, brag, exactly. Brag about it. That's what we're here for. We're here to brag about it.
Last year was one of my best years in 6 years. I don't know. I'm just very blessed. I always see beyond blessed because that's what I am.
Yeah. But, I mean, so people have got an occasion coming up, and then we'll phone you and say, I need to look fabulous. What do? You say, come in and tell me, you take a look, and you decide, you sort of, what do you think they'll look good on, or they'll come in and say, this is what I want?
It depends. You know, you can't design something for a person in 5 minutes because you need to get to know the personality. I mean, this little lady next to me, I kind of knew what I wanted to do for her. But long story short, a lot of my clients have been clients of 20 years. I've been my own label 22 years this year.
Wow.
30 years in business, so they came a long way. So I know exactly what they want. Clients call from Dubai and say, I'm flying in for a wedding, just do it, and then they come to fit. And that's how it works. Yeah. So, but it's not only special wear like a wedding dress or an evening dress. I mean, clients order a white shirt because it's couture, or black pants. And couture is a lifestyle, it's not a party dress, and that's what people don't really realize. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, if I could afford it, I would be a couture girl. But when we get sponsorship for the show, I'll be a couture person. Take note, yes. But you two also do know each other already because you did amazing things for the Tutu Foundation.
Yes. Yeah, you go. So I was approached by Strauss & Co. to create a garment for the Arch Tutu Foundation for his 90th birthday, and then I wanted a muse. So I created the beautiful dress for Zolani, which a client of mine bought the dress. And I can say with all honesty, we raised 3.9 million rand for the arts that evening. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And charity is very close to my heart. You know, I don't do Fashion Week anymore because I think it's a waste of time and a joke, because I think it lost the beauty of it. So I create evenings for shows where my clients buy tickets and we sell the tickets, and it goes all for charity.
And then do you sell, so if people like the dresses on the show?
Not always. Unfortunately, South Africans don't pay a lot for couture. America, they go up to $1 million, $2 million. It's not a rugby ball. Yeah, they all fucking go for a rugby ball. I don't know why. So, yeah, that's what we do. And I mean, it's normally art auction, or we sell something. Anything is for sale, as long as it's for charity. Yeah.
Okay, even the dresses, because I think there'll be a lot of women in the audience, they're trying to hold, I will squeeze myself into it.
But the funny thing is, everybody's doing that. It's like, oh, if I lose weight, I won't come to you.
It will fit me.
But
No.
80% of my clients are sizes 40 and up. They're
Yeah.
not a 34. 34 is only what people judge and see out there, because
Yeah. Big girls of the world unite. That's also why I love your clothes so much, because you dress women to look beautiful. You don't make dresses that women need to squeeze into to look beautiful. It's not like, so many designers will make dresses and it's only going to fit a certain look. You've got to be stick thin. You can't have any boobs. I don't know where they put them, but strap them down. Whereas you dress women. You don't dress.
every woman is beautiful, no matter what shape or size. They
Yeah.
are fucking beautiful, honestly.
Thank
And I'm
you.
only there to create kind of extra beauty. That's all. Like, add the
There
bow.
we go.
That's
Add the
my
bow.
job. That's my job.
Put the bow on the presents.
Yeah.
I love them. I love your clothes.
Thank you so much.
And I also love that, like you said, those sleek lines make people look beautiful. I think it's the non-fussiness of your clothes look good on everyone. And it's a skill that a lot of designers don't do. They don't think of a woman's body and go, actually, I'm going to make you look great wearing this. The dress wears the woman almost, and with other designers. Whereas your designs are so sleek and so well tailored that anyone can wear them and look amazing.
We nip in shape at the right place.
Yeah.
So, but it's also the good fabric and the cut and then the finishing. That's couture, it was made
Yeah.
for that body. And
Yeah.
people don't realize that, because you can't just take any piece of fabric to create a beautiful dress.
If somebody wants to buy something of yours, like how, yes, exactly. How many, okay, that's
We don't
good
talk
from
about
our
money. We
audience.
normally send a little love letter to the husband. So, I mean,
Listen, my husband's not opening that letter. My husband's return to sender. He's gonna be like, and he'll be like, okay, something this is like this. He'll be like, your people at the traffic department are sending letters again. That kind of reaction. But I mean, if somebody watching says, I want a dress.
well, they can send an email. Johan will take care of that normally. But we are fully booked again for this year. And if there's time, I would love to help everybody, but it's impossible. Because today, it's not about a luxury dress anymore. It's about luxury time for me.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize. So
Yeah.
if there's 5 minutes, Zolani knows, I will squeeze it in.
Yeah. And you don't have anything, you can't just come in this something you've made already and you can buy it. I saw that in the fashion show. I want that particular one.
No.
You know.
My last show, one client actually bought like 80% of the collection. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So kind of, I
Nice.
think I jumped the gun lately because I do design for somebody in mind.
Yeah.
So, and that's why. It's a business thing, come on.
Yeah.
It's like me, I write for certain people.
And that's the target.
Shimmy actually used to work in fashion as well. In fashion, that's actually how you know Zolani.
Well, yeah. So I used to work at this little vintage store in Long Street, dreaming of going to university. And Zolani was studying at the time. She was at Michaela's. So I've known her way before Freshly Ground, and she and her classmates used to come down Long Street and come into this little vintage store called Stella's Yesteryear, where I used to work, and I would do the window displays, and that's how I got into wardrobe, and I would assist on magazine shoots and stuff like that. But it's just, isn't it amazing how full circle my life has come, that I am sitting on a stage today, because I remember watching her evolve into Freshly Ground and going to the concerts and going, she comes to my shop, she knows me, man. She knows me, we've frana, we've chommies. Like, she buys from me, man, you know. And you would just want to get her attention, you know, to go as Ika. You know? But Zolani is exactly who she is on stage and off stage. She's always had the kindest words to say to me. And I think she had no idea the impact she had on me watching her, because that was my dream. And I would go, yeah, ik raak jealous. Ik kan nie, ek is jalouse mense. You know, I just wanted to know, how do I get there? How do I do what you do? And that's what I love about my business, is I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly evolving. You know, I watch other artists. I go and watch other comedians, because they constantly remind me that I've got to work on my craft every single day. But most importantly is that I also have to work on myself mentally and spiritually, so that I don't get fucked up in this industry. Girl, I've been sober for 8 years, honey. I was like, woo!
I know. Listen.
Ik ga malira. I can't do this life like that, so.
Yeah, it is. It can swallow you up. It does swallow you up.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to. And I think just because I was from out of town, my mother gave me the best advice, and she still does till this day. We're extremely close. The best advice my mother gave me, in Afrikaans, no subtitles coming up. My kind moenie jy by die Kaap aanpas nie. Dat die Kaap by jou aanpas. Meaning, moenie jy jou values and principles prys gee, net dat mense van jou kan hou nie. And that is why I'm Shimmy Isaacs, because I stand in my truth, I stand in my values, and I will not be wavered.
No, you won't though, but also, because I mean, we go way back. But because what you're saying about Zolani's the same person on and off stage,
100%.
but also are very real and have always been real. But you are the same as that, and you've always stuck. And the nice thing, you say, you know, you go to see other artists and you go to watch other shows and that kind of thing, and you say it's to hone your own craft. But actually, you go to support. You are not a competitive person, and I love that about you. And also you, Zolani, you guys don't go with that competitive edge, like, okay, one-upmanship. With both of you, I've never ever experienced that or seen it with you. You both genuinely go, you show up to support and love other people's work.
Oh, yeah.
And that's such a great thing.
Mark Lottering is one of the most amazing people to watch. Just watching him work, not just as a comedian, as a songwriter.
Yeah.
As, I mean, Auntie Mo, the second, took me out.
Yeah.
He was just, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I think if you are saturated in the craft of performance, then you will not have a jealous bone in your body.
Yeah.
But you will actually appreciate what the man puts out there.
Yeah.
It was absolutely, I still talk about it. It was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal.
The nice thing about Mark as well is he knows the business side of things.
Okay.
And actually that's something that you're doing so well at the moment as well. And it's something where artists, you know, I feel artists are let down, young artists in South Africa are let down because, you know, you go, you learn to be a performer, it's great, I've got, you know, I'm a performer, I can sing, I can dance, I can everything, but not create a business out of you know, you need to look at it as talent is, you know, unfortunately probably 40% only, though it's that if you really want to go the distance, you need to look at yourself as a brand, as a business, as you know, and Mark really gets that right because he.
Well, I think it's unfortunate because it shouldn't be that way.
No, it shouldn't.
It really shouldn't. And I mean, I've had the privilege of doing shows in the US and in London and in Europe. It's a completely different ball game. The moment somebody spots you, you've got a manager, you've got an agent, you've got a publicist all coming at you. You right? Because it's laid out. In this country, you have to do everything yourself. Yeah. And it's hard. It's really, really hard, and it becomes extremely lonely.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes, in all honesty, writing is a very solitude thing. You know, I struggle to write with other people, especially if it's my concept, right? Because now I've got to sell it to them, and I've got to get them to understand this and that. So it becomes extremely lonely, but there's also the great reward is that I'm able to create a story that I know is different and it will move South Africa.
Because your stories are authentic. I hate using that word because these days every social media post, I'm authentic. Look at my coffee. Authentic breakfast. You know, but it is a term that can genuinely be used for you. The scripts you write have an authenticity to them. They represent whoever is watching.
Oh, no, absolutely. But I mean, look, there's always people in the office, you know, you guys know who I mean, the suits, you know, who will try to, as I like to say, who will try to dumb down your work and try to have your work fit their narrative, right? And that is something that I very vigorously defend, is my coloredness, is my South Africanness. I'm a very intelligent woman. Just because I can say Monijay and Khani, don't let that confuse you.
Yes.
You understand?
Exactly.
I am highly qualified. I consist of various degrees, and because I stand in that, I will not allow you to intimidate me by intimidating my South African story.
Go, girl.
So you just can't.
No,
and like I said, it's not easy because not everybody understands that. When you stand up for yourself, and no offense, but when you stand up for yourself as a woman of color and you are strong, then you are either labeled crazy or you are labeled out. Simply because I'm standing up for myself.
Yeah.
You know.
Aggressive. The whole.
Oh no, I can do aggressive. Jy het nog nie aggressive gesien nie. Look at John. You know?
But let's, speaking of writing, because you find it. So Lani's turning into the laugh emoji. The tears. So Lani, speaking of writing, because Shimi's talking about finding writing quite lonely in the writing process, the creative process. How does what Shimi has just said resonate with you as a writer and an artist?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you meant that it was lonely. I mean, you entirely. I mean, it's solitary, and there's that gift in that. I really, really love your point of the uniqueness that comes with really having your own vision and sticking to your vision. You know, that's one of the things that I wanted to do when in leaving the band, was to hone my voice, because that is a thing that you can, in the collaborative process, that you can, we're working together, we're building this thing together, and one can. I'm also I'm a very I'm a Cancerian, and I'm a peacemaker, and I love to do, I love it, let's all together, boys, we all stand together. And I found I was giving over me. I was subjugating myself. Thank you very much for this. And it's not anybody else's fault. And there's no shade on anyone else. That's all mine. So I just had to, when I realized that, I had to then really start to go on this journey to find the voice of the one who sings.
Let's talk about collaborations. You mentioned collaborations, and you do like to work collaboratively. You have some quite nice collaborations coming up.
So I do. I mean, I've had such a wonderful career collaborating with and working with major artists, and sharing stages and now I'm going to do some name dropping, if you don't mind.
buckets, yeah, where the big names are coming.
Yeah, I mean, one of our best gigs with Freshly Ground was sharing a stage with Stevie Wonder. And he is my all-time favorite. And supporting B.B. King in Paris.
Wow.
And what other things? And obviously working with our incredible artists here on this continent, Hugh Masekela, the late Hugh Masekela, collaborating with the late Oliver Mtukudzi. Some really wonderful things. At the beginning of 2020, playing with Yo-Yo Ma was one of the most amazing things for me, to just be with this icon, and just to feel his generosity of spirit, his incredible generosity of spirit. Here's a man who is multiple Grammy Award winner, and he just takes that time. Takes the time to be with the other. And he did an amazing thing, actually. One of the best things that came to me after leaving Freshly Ground was when he was doing his tour around the world of the Bach suites. He's a cellist, of the Bach suites. Everywhere he went, he had an artist of different disciplines put together an event, and they put some money towards this event. And the theme of the tour and this event had to be connection. And I was one of the artists that they asked to put together something. And I did a storytelling event, and I did it in Langa. In Langa, in my great aunt's backyard. And I had people from all sorts of different walks of life come and tell a story. And I mean, that was profound in itself, but but Yo-Yo, like before Yo-Yo Ma, people were like, yeah, he must sit in a chair in the back there, and you mustn't look him in the eye and or whatever. The moment I got there, the guy was hugging everybody.
Yeah.
In that neighborhood, that whole township was just like Yo-Yo Mad. It was so beautiful.
Sweet, yeah.
And what a lesson. What a lesson. All these people that I've mentioned, there is that generosity of spirit, that comes with somebody, I think you put it in a different way, but somebody really walking their path. There's the sense of it's not just mine, it's ours as well.
It's sort of creating art together as opposed to trying to be someone trying to be the star of the show, which is, I love a collaborative process, as you know. But, and I love seeing that with other artists, when it's not necessarily, you don't have to be the center of something to create something. You can be part of something bigger than yourself, part of something beautiful, without necessarily owning it.
That's part of why I moved into becoming the one who sings, because there's something for me that feels very community-ish minded. My father was very much a community man, very gregarious man, and he always would have these conversations with people and make these connections with people. And that's what I love so much about living in a township is that feeling, is that feeling of being connected to others. But the one who sings, one of the things I love about the one who sings is that they can be the one who is the barber, there's the one who is the salesman, and then there's the one who sings, who lives over there. For me, it was so wonderful leaving a journey of being this celebrity, this pop star, whatever, and coming to find my true self, what resonates with me, and coming to also feel myself a part of the community, part of. And it's not sexy.
It is.
But I love it.
It is.
It's not sexy, but I really like it. I really love it. Yeah, it's been a wonderful journey.
Your, so the event you did with Yo-Yo Ma, is that online somewhere? I want to see it now. Please tell me someone filmed it.
Yeah, there's some footage that I haven't actually released it yet, but yes, I will. I shall.
WhatsApp it to me. Can I have a?
Sure, Fiona. So I'm collaborating soon. You asked me what I'm collaborating with.
Going forward
with a group of wonderful women, young women. On the 30th, we're playing a gig at the Baxter Theatre at the amphitheatre, in the new amphitheatre space, and I'm loving playing with women. There's something that the power of the feminine is really rising, I'm feeling.
It is.
The divine feminine. And it's a wonderful thing to be a part of, and these are really powerful, powerful women. So I'm excited for it.
While we're talking about your music, we're going to go to break in 1 minute, but where can people buy your music? Where can people get your music, your new album?
So I just released my debut solo album. It's called Teta Mama, Speak
Teta
Mama,
Mama.
and it's the one who sings. That's my new artist name.
And where can we buy it? Online?
Yeah, it's digital. It's in the ether.
In the ether. So Google.
Yeah. No,
Google
it's on
and
all the
buy.
platforms. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are going to have a quick break because our audience needs another drink and we need some fresh air and all the rest. So please stay tuned. We will be back for our last segment in a couple of minutes' time.
Hey, Mercedes.
How can I help you?
How about a car for those who set fire to the sound? Who cruise around town just to cool things down.
We're going to jump right back with Jacques back in the hot seat. You told me something so interesting during the break that you went to, first of all, went to Paarl Gymnasium, which is quite a school. Yeah, but it is though, isn't it? It's where like half of...
A rugby school.
It's like 98% of the Springboks come from there, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, and one or two from East London or somewhere, but the rest are from... But you took... Sia's from your... Exactly. You're a good friend. You're name dropping again. No, actually, because you've sung with him.
That's true.
I was quite surprised. He's quite good.
Yeah, he's very good.
He... Oh, no. Listen, his daughter goes to the same school as my daughter. And the first time he pulled in, I was like...
Yeah.
You know, when you have that moment. And tall as well. I mean, I felt like a midget. I know how you feel now on small. Not that you're a midget.
You can't say midget anymore. Small
No, sorry. A dainty person. I felt for the first time in my life like a dainty person. Because I was like, hello.
Why do I feel like they're trying to say, Jacques, you should have played rugby?
No, but we're getting to the really impressive part. So Jacques went to Paarl Gymnasium and decided as one of your subjects to take
needlework and home economics.
Needlework.
First boy. Yeah.
And that must have...
Quite a stir.
I am
Created quite a
guessing
stir.
you were the only boy.
White boy.
Only white boy.
Pink, actually, if you look closely.
Oh, no. So,
Yeah. And I said, that's what I want to take, because if a girl can take woodwork, why can't I do needlework?
yeah.
And so I did push the boundaries ever since 40 years ago. Chanel is working.
Yes.
So, yeah, and then my mother was called in because I had an attitude problem, and I
Oh.
said, fuck that, that's what I want to take.
Yeah.
And I did.
And you did.
I did.
How was the school? I mean, there must have been a bit of a shock for them. I mean, these days everyone is, so open to things and gender fluid and everything
Well,
like that. In those
years
days,
wasn't.
it must have
It
been
wasn't,
a...
No.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. How well do they know me? It's non-alcoholic, I promise. No, but seriously though,
Mine
yours is good. Can Jacques get a top up, please? No, but what I'm saying is, it's much easier these days for people to do, for kids to do different, young people, I should say, different subjects that aren't necessarily, pigeonholed into a specific gender must do this.
Yeah.
But back in your day, not that it's that long ago, but it would have been, and specifically at that school, it must have been
It was a no-no.
shocking. Yeah.
But then I do like to push the boundaries still today.
Yeah. You said something interesting as well during the break, because Shimi was saying it's very difficult for a woman of color to really own your brand and push ahead. But you were saying when you first started out, somebody said you're not going to last more than 6 months.
At school, they said, you'll get nowhere, just a normal kid with a loud mouth. And even in town, when I studied fashion, I remember I knocked at Errol's door and Errol Ahrens, and I said, I'm here to work. And after 10 minutes of talking to him, I got the job as his personal assistant.
Brilliant.
And again, I
Yeah.
didn't take no for an answer. And then I remember...
Similar,
yeah,
Shins.
very similar.
Yeah.
But I'm not color, I'm pink. And I remember...
That show me we can go like that.
Yeah, Broadman. And I remember when I opened my first shop, a South African well-known lady walked in and she said, I give you 6 months.
Ooh.
6 months. And can I tell you something?
Who was it? Can we do a name and shame?
No,
Is
I
she
do
still-
other name drops, not that.
Okay,
No,
is she still a client? You can't really...
oh no, that bitch can't afford me.
Yes! Yes! Perfect. Yes, that's what I like to hear. But I mean, and the nice thing for you as well is looking back at all the rugby players who came out of your class, who, have a career of 20 minutes. Seriously, as a rugby player, it's one of those things that it's like a model. You've got a shelf life. So for everyone at school who said you'll never make it, yes, they might have been a rugby player for a little bit. They played for the Springboks, blah, 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 but it's over.
Yeah.
Whereas your career has such longevity and just gets better and better and better. You're everywhere.
30 years, and I mean,
Yeah.
30 years ago, I did my first show as a 16-year-old in Paarl. Wow. So yeah,
Wow.
30 years. And I mean, I didn't see the cash. I did try the champagne, and I was like, fuck, I only did it.
It was, but you're seeing the cash now. You said you didn't
It's
see the
just
cash
printed
then.
paper. That's, you know, I don't see it like
Yeah,
that, you know.
yeah,
I see
good.
the international travels. Clients invite me to their chateaus, sending me a private
Fab.
jet to fly all over to fit them. Come on.
Nice.
Yeah, so that is really amazing. And that's special memories that's in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I think also, you know, you make people look beautiful, and in doing so, you actually spread happiness.
Yeah.
Like, I think the nice thing about all three of you, what you do spreads so much joy in the world. It's like that ripple effect of you do something and you think, okay, I did that show, you know, and it feels good, you did a show. But it sounded so beautiful. People are going home singing it in their head, and it's the same with your dresses. People wearing your dress to an event and they feel so beautiful. Or Shims, they go to one of your shows and they laugh themselves, that belly laugh, and they go home. And I love when you go, like with your shows, I'll go home and it's like the next day, or for 2 or 3 days, I'm thinking, and then she said this, you know, you're driving, you suddenly burst out laughing, and the person in the car next to you thinks you're a crazy person. You're like, like looking at, but it's because you remember something. So I think that ripple effect of the joy that you three trigger, that goes further than you realize. It must be such a nice thing to be able to do.
Yeah, I think all three of us understand that what we do is bigger than us, and that we are merely just the vessel. Again, I'm a Christian, so, you know, I believe that what I'm able to do is God-given. And I have to show up in a holistic spiritual manner when it is that I'm speaking to my audience, because I truly, truly believe this, that God is working through me, through the medium of art, you know. And I have to honor that, you know. And the way that I honor that is by being diligent, disciplined, humble, practice humility at all times, you know, and also know my worth. And I love how he said, that bitch can't afford me, because he knows his worth.
Yeah.
Like him, all of us were told at some point in our lives that, ek dink jy moet, Jana, sy siek. Jana. You know.
I still get told it.
We all got that, Jana, you know. And something I do today, when I am expressing an idea to anyone, and it's so important to associate and surround yourself with really incredible people that know you to your core. That know you to your core. I know a lot of famous people, but none of them are my friends.
That's true.
None of them are my friends. My best friend of 24 years is a school teacher. Okay, and he also just happens to be my fabulous stylist. Okay, but these are the people that are in my life today, people that I actually grew up with, that knows me when I was just shimmy. Because I think the important question that I ask myself as an artist in this industry, and I think all of us ask this, if you take away all the glitz and glam, will you still love me? And that was a question I posed to my family when I shot out, you know, but daar kom ons familie uit die woodworks uit. Hy en ek is jou pa se cousin. You know, and I think I've really had to hold on to my spiritual values when it comes to things like that.
Yeah. I'm almost like...
yeah, I know. I have that effect on women.
No,
Hashtag just saying, boo-boo. Will I keep closet up here, yo?
Terrible, Muriel. No, but it's nice to have a pause after something like that, to let it sink in. It is quite a thing, you know. And also, I mean, no matter what you do, but we do work in the kind of environment where, you know, egos get out of control and that kind of thing. So it is quite nice to bring it back in and be. I mean, look, the best person for me is my 6-year-old daughter. Because no one is gonna. No, she's 6. Yeah, I know. Zolani, you know. No one's going to bring you, you know, pull you into line. I left the house wearing something else earlier. She was like, "You're not wearing that, are you?" Actually, Jacques, I was going to ask you, do you need an apprentice? Because she came. No,
You're not a cousin, huh?
She came. No, I'm not a cousin. But she came out this morning. She's got this thing at the moment. She's fashion, and anything. I'm like, Mum, no, that's not stylish. So she came out of her bedroom this morning. We were actually coming here to do a sound check and that with Adrian. She'd torn a T-shirt, like a one shoulder. She cut the sleeve off, cut it across this way, cut another T-shirt into a skirt. And she comes out, and I was like, she's like, how do I look? I was like, great. What are you putting on underneath? It's this. And I said, Nevi, that is not a skirt. That is a belt. And as I said, I was like, oh, that's my mom. I was like, oh my God. I thought I'd be saying that, as a teenager, not just a 6-year-old. That is a belt. I said, you've got to put something. And she goes, this is fashion. And she looked at me. She looked at me like, I don't expect you to understand. And I was like, woo, okay, well, I have one of the best fashionista, hashtag fashionista. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to ask Jacques if he needs an intern.
I would love to do it because, I mean, I am a little bit against fashion design schools today because I think it's a money-making thing. Yeah. And they don't really teach the kids what they should know because I think if you have talent, you should do your own thing. And just jump into the business and find your own kind of feet.
Yeah, no, she was,
so it
made me laugh. No, seriously, my 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Woo, you're not ready. Zolani seen her on the beach. No, she's very, very cute, but it was that. But there's nothing like your kids to. I mean, do you feel like that, Zolani? There's nothing like your kids to pull you back into like.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You're not a celebrity. You're not special to your children. You're their mother. You're their parent. And that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
it's a similar thing to what you're saying with the people who've known you for a long time. You're not that outer thing.
Yeah.
You are you. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Speaking of kids, and like I said, we've seen you on the beach. I want to talk about your swimming because it's you've become a proper open water swimmer.
Yeah.
Like it's not just I'll pop in, I go in, get my feet wet, like a proper. And if you are not in Cape Town, the sea here is cold. The Atlantic is cold. And Zolani gets in and she will swim across the bay, proper swim. It's not just a dip in and out.
In my cozy.
In your cozy.
And my flippers.
I've seen that.
So, yes, I do. So I've discovered something really amazing, and it's been a wonderful journey. In 2019, Craig Foster reached out to me, and Craig Foster is he formed a Sea Change project, which produced the film My Octopus Teacher. And at that time, the movie wasn't out, I don't think, but he contacted me because Yo Yo Ma was coming out and they were doing a kelp forest song. So long story short, in January of 2020, I went for my first dive with Craig, and a switch just kicked in me. It just like tripped. I came out of that water and I was something that is called cold drunk. Where the endorphins, of the power of that cold water. I was high. I was so high, and we laughed about it. And Craig has done, he's produced a few documentaries, and he's been in the Kalahari and spent like years and years with the San people and with the master trackers. And before we went into that water, he spoke to me about how one can deeply listen when you immerse yourself in the water. You can deeply listen to something old, something ancient. And I came out with songs when I came out of that water. But amazing thing that has happened 2 years after that is that I started speaking to the kelp as if I was speaking to my ancestors. And so this kernel that he had dropped, back then yielded such unthinkable fruit, really, for me. It really connected to my ancestry, which, I grew up, my father was a Xhosa traditionalist and Catholic, which is quite a mix. So I grew up with a lot of traditional ceremonies at home, and it just really reconnected me to that. And so when you said this thing about the calling, which is that picture that you will have seen on Instagram, it is a calling of sorts. It is a calling to really step into one's skin and to be connected as well, you know, to be connected lineages past, present.
Yeah. Well, it's the, you know, lockdown has been very difficult for everyone. But swimming got me through it, swimming in the sea.
I remember you said.
Yeah, I mean, I train in a swimming pool as well, but for different reasons. I kind of train because it's more that meditative and stop your mind racing, just count your strokes. But swim in the sea for a different kind of meditation because you can't help but look around. You can't, the experience of being in that cold water. But, and sharks, exactly.
Cold water.
Well, no, you're right, sharks. But that's,
Fine.
I actually love them. And you know, I've done the Robben
Beautiful
Island swim
sharks.
twice. And the first thing everyone always says is, what about the sharks? And I'm like, well, honestly, it's a white thing. Problem. Ooh, I'm getting heckled by the audience. Maybe it is.
I'm not white, excuse me. I'm very not white. I love swimming in the sea.
I'm going to bring you on Robben Island next time.
Yeah.
But people always say, what about the sharks? And I'm like, well, firstly, I just don't think I'll look that tasty. Secondly, it's actually the cold will kill you first. So, no, it's a true story. But it's amazing that feeling when you're in the middle of the ocean and you can't see Robben Island anymore and you can't see Bloberg. You can see Table Mountain. It's the only thing you can see. And it's that feeling of being so small. You have no idea how deep it is and no idea, but also so immersed in something so much bigger. I want you to do it with me one year.
I will do it with you.
And if we see the sharks, we will love them. They are beautiful. They're beautiful.
Yes.
No.
I'll be on the boat.
You'll be on the boat. Join us.
Thanks.
Actually, do you know what? No, talking about sharks, honestly, I love sharks. Years ago when I was on a Cape Town radio station, in fact, someone who was also worked there with me is in the audience, heckling me at the moment. But there was an old lady who was taken by a shark in Fishhook. Yes, and I'd sort of said it on the show. I was like, oh gosh, you know, this, I don't know if it's, you know, sharks, and I don't know if they're chumming, I don't know what's going on. And then, you know, this lady who's a marine biologist phoned me and said, Fiona, sharks are beautiful animals. And I was like, yes. I particularly like the gnashing of teeth. You know, and she was like, well, why don't you come shark cage diving with us and see for yourself? And I thought, okay, well, anything for an adventure, first of all, and any excuse to get in the sea. So I went, and it was it was life-changing, because they are magnificent. And you go in, they're not interested in you. They'll circle the cage because they're more interested in the magnetic field of the metal. They're very curious. They have no interest in biting humans, but they are magnificent. And if you... No, but they... And, you know, you look at them as a swimmer, you will look at them as the same, and that almost economy of motion, they barely move and they glide, they are beautiful. No, honestly, I came back converted. Audience is not going. No, but I came back totally converted, and since then I've become a shark advocate. And I love them, all kinds of sharks. Like now, you know, my daughter loves them as well. What's your favorite kind of shark? I'm like, well, I like the raggy tooth because they're so cute, and I like, you know, there's all the different, they're beautiful.
The gully sharks. Yeah, all sorts.
Oh, yeah, the pajama sharks.
The pajama sharks, yes.
So Lani and I are going all shark fangle. No, but it is, I mean, we're so fortunate in South Africa. And if you look at our country, you know, it's not the entire coast. Like, it must be, 60% of our border is, Jacques is just looking at me like, no, is ocean. No, but it's ocean, but is surrounded by the most amazing marine life. We're so fortunate.
Guys, we are beyond fortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, like so much, you know, sharks aside, you know, so much of life. No, just being alive. We get so much life out of just the ocean existing.
Yeah.
You know, and that is something that we do not take into account. For me, one of the gifts of the pandemic, I feel, has been a resurgence of people really connecting to nature. And really feeling themselves a part of rather than being separate from. And for me, like, that's like, you know, that's for me a really exciting journey that I'm seeing, and an exciting thing of indigenous knowledge becoming more and more in the mainstream and more acknowledged. And that indigenous knowledge is people who have been living and working with the land and the medicine of the land, you know, and the connection with the land and spirituality of being not separate from the animals, from everything. Yeah. So I think there's some really exciting things that have come about also as a result of the pandemic, you know?
Yeah. I think also people are questioning, you know, we start questioning ourselves. You know, when you've got time, you're sitting at home and you start questioning why, what is the point, so there's definitely been a lot of a shift. And I think the stress of it all, also, once you get through the stress of it all, you do, you know, learn things about yourself. I mean, everyone.
I think people have, I mean, ek klim weg. I keep it dry. But I also can swim. But but you know, no, it is. I think people have awoken to doing something nice for themselves for once. Yeah. You know, I think the pandemic instilled, you know, it got people to wake up. I've always trained. I've always been hiking. I mean, I'm from Worcester. All I could do as a child was play in the berge. You know, so it's a part of my DNA. So, was I boskind man? Yes, you know, we used to jagtarentale. Like that, like I had an amazing childhood, and I'm so grateful for that. I really am. I had a phenomenal childhood, you know, where we made up games. I grew up in a time where we made up games and like tok-tokkie gespeel and all of those things, and that was my life, you know. Yeah. And so I think when I started hiking in Cape Town, the saddest thing for me was, at the time, I don't know what the percentage or the stats look like on that now, but at the time, I was 19 when I walked up Table Mountain by myself, because I was just intrigued with, there was like a gap in the mountain, and I didn't know where it went, and I just kept walking, because Worcester we walk everywhere, so don't be confused about the distance. That's just what you do, you just walk, you know, we just walk. And I was living in Camp Street, and I just ended up on top of Table Mountain. Wow. And it was the most amazing thing, and to come to find out that about 75% of actual Cape Townians had never been to Table Mountain. So that really blew my mind. And they only go to the ocean on the 26th of December. And the first. No, but then I was like, but seka mos 'n trein vat en so man. You know, but at the end of the day, not everybody's reality was what mine was. You know, because there are people that where parents have to work the whole year, and Christmas was the only time that they had time off. You know, and once you understand that aspect of it, then I think people will have a little bit more compassion for the 26th of December. And have a little bit more tolerance, because not all of us, our environment and our background, it's not the same. You know, I mean, I think both my parents had to work when I was a kid. At the age of 8, I could cook you a whole meal. You know, now that would be seen as child abuse. But back then, is what was called independence, and my mother teaching me that I will never have to ask anyone for anything. Yeah. And I always appreciate the fact that she gave me a gedachte to think for myself. Yeah. Because once the child is out of the house, there's nothing you can do. You must just hope and pray for the best. But what you, like my mommy says, what she prayed for is, Here moenie huis toe kom nie. You know? And I think people have started to realize what they've missed out on. Yeah. And they've started to realize that it's time to take better care of themselves. And it's not about skinniness, muni angani. It's really just moving your body from one place to the other place for more than 10 minutes, kanala. You know what I'm saying? And I think people are starting to really connect. People are really starting. I mean, I hike 4 times a week, right? And with that, I mean, I trail run and I do all kinds of things. Do you know how happy I am to hear only South African accents on that mountain? It is the most exquisite thing. I met a young couple last week, husband, wife. They had their little boy and 2 cousins, you know. Maar die cousins lopen all stars, man. So that's how I knew they're not regulars. So when you check the all-star, you know. And she didn't make it to the top, and she was so disappointed with herself because I was already running back when she turned around and her husband went up. And I could see the disappointment in her, but it was an exceptionally hot day. But she got so far, and it was her first day hiking. And I said to her, the first time is never about getting to the top. Okay? It's all about progress. It's all about progress. So next time you come back, you go a little bit further. And I think we don't have to be so hard on ourselves. When we think about the mountain, then we think we have to get to the top. We have to climb that thing now. That Rome wasn't built in a day. Are you mad? You will hate hiking. You will never go back there. So I will recommend that you start on a contour path or you start with a pipe track. It's the easiest, most boring, but it's all about training physical memory. Right? And I think people have reached that place where they want to get more healthy. They want to spend more quality time with themselves. Some people that I know have quit jobs. Because they would never have had that courage had we not had the pandemic, had we've just gone on. And I'm so happy and grateful and proud. It's not easy. Zolani spoke about that. To step away from something you've known for 17 years. I mean, that takes incredible courage and incredible faith, you know? And that's what I love seeing when I'm hiking, is that every single person I've encountered since last year are all locals, are all South Africans.
Yeah, I feel like that swimming. With it, when you see people in the sea, I feel like that. No, what I'm saying
I know,
is
I'm just playing with you, Boo Boo. I'm
using
playing with
the beautiful environment that we have. It's not just, not a tourist thing anymore.
Yes, and it's inexpensive. I mean, we've got so many free things. Didn't you and I do that 7 Wonders thing a couple of years ago?
Yes.
Zolani
also
did that. You did at Table Mountain.
A song.
Yeah.
7 Wonders of Nature, yes.
Yeah.
We made it one of the 7 wonders of nature.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Cape Town, everyone knows everyone. We're all part of a gang, right? No, but it's interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a doctor the other day as well. Dr. Layla, she says hello to you. Yes. We were saying there's the shift at the moment that we are hoping to get, because we're Layla and I are trying to work on something to shift, particularly for women, away from this thing of I need to be the thinnest version of myself to I need to be the healthiest. What is we don't have to be thin, we need to be healthy. And I think that's what you're saying, that there's a shift for people want to connect to something, need to get some exercise, need to be healthy.
Yeah, and it's connecting with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for some reason, I've lately become like a counselor to my friends that are married. No, you know, and what
maybe that's why Google said.
And my advice to them is, what is your social activities together? Moenie vir my sê julle gaan naweek na Neville hulle toe en a braai hulle nou en you know.
Yeah.
And because they're a young couple, they're a young married couple, and I feel like they feel like, you know, we're married now, so now we must do married stuff. Or just with other people. And the interesting thing was when I posed them individual questions, and I said to my friend, the female, and I said to her, what is your vision for your marriage? What's your vision? And then I asked him the same question. And for the first time, they stopped and never thought about it. Where do you see yourself as a married couple? How do you envision this partnership going? Yeah. You know? Because right now, as werk, as kind kry, as school betaal, you're right, you've got a vision for your financial status, you want to be there in 5 years, boom. But where do you guys, as a couple, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Spiritually, mentally, how have you evolved? And guess what, girl? They started hiking together. And what started happening is there's a shift in how they communicate with one another. Because, you know, when you communicate, you go, yeah, that's not communication. You know, that's not communication. You know, because I wanted to support them to get them to a place of vigorous honesty, where the man is able to cry in his wife's arms and say, I don't know what else to do, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because we are South Africans, and we live in an era, or at least we all three come from an era where the man has to be the this and the that and the this, you know, and the wife just keep her feelings inside. So that's my purpose in life, off stage and on stage, is to get people to live their full potential. It's get people to live their full potential, but in order to do that, you have to become honest. And yeah, don't lose yourself. Are you
taking bookings? Or
yeah.
Do you want to come around my place?
Huh?
I said, do you want to come around my place? No. I was going to say, we can talk to my husband. Get him in the sea.
No, but it is. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm looking around the audience now.
Yeah.
That one is lekker crazy. Lekker. Lekker one. She's a lekker one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, imagine that beautiful personality. Imagine that beautiful personality being dumbed down or first money depressie. Oh, tell her. But you understand? Yeah. And I think that we mustn't try to change one another. No. But we have to push to become themselves, but at the same time, you have to accept your partner with all their quirkiness, with all their flaws, because isn't that what commitment is about, is to commit to the unknown. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm done. Oprah, jy maak jou laat.
I think, yeah. Well, we're definitely getting a lot out of this show, aren't we? It's like marriage advice. No, you are very deep and funny and gorgeous. Yeah. Right. Anyone want to add to Shami's?
Hell no.
No.
Sure, that's a hard act to follow. No. I'm sitting here, Shamina, and I'm thinking, I mean, three of us at this table, we're not, no shade, we're not drinking alcohol, and I was thinking about the role that sobriety has played in terms of your being able to really focus and crystallize, and even be going up and down that mountain, doing all of those things. I'd love for you to speak on that, because it's lovely to just hear you talk.
Oh, wow. So, no, Zoe, when I say Zoe knows me, Zoe really knows me. And this year I'll be celebrating 8 years in sobriety. I got sober about 8 years ago. And I think, this is not a share, but but I think the importance of that is, I think it's only recently that I started talking about recovery, because it's a very personal journey, and it's the only thing that is mine, and I've chosen it's intentional that I don't talk about it as often, because it's not something that I try to promote. It is something that is a day-to-day thing for me. We talk about just one day at a time. And I understood when I had what we call my rock bottom about 8 years ago. And it was awful. It was utterly awful. I was depressed. I just hated myself. But thank God I had the foresight to know that it had to do with substance. I knew that. And I think as a young artist, just in your 20s, you try to fit in with everybody. And you try to be at every party, and you try to be the this and the that. And the wonderful thing that recovery has given me was I have absolutely no desire to be the center of attraction every single time, you know. And I have an incredible family who came and walked that journey with me, which is sort of unheard of, because in my community, nobody's ever spoken about, I know we're at a bar, but so please, like it was something that I didn't know. What? It was a complete foreign language. And I got into recovery to really have a better understanding of myself. Why do I function the way that I function? Why is it that I'm constantly on this loop and I'm making the same decisions expecting a different result, which we call insanity, right? And it wasn't until I got quiet and I walked myself into rehab. I literally walked myself. And I remember saying to my therapist, I walked in and I'm like, I need help. I was just like, blah, blah, blah. Because when you reach a level of desperation to save your brain.
They call it the gift of desperation, isn't it?
It's a gift.
The gift of
it
desperation.
Is an utter gift. That desperation was an utter gift. And the thing that I feared most was my ability to not create. The thing that I feared most was that I was never able to stand on a stage and entertain you guys. And that's when I talk about honoring my craft, because it's God-gifted, and I wasn't honoring it. And so 8 years down the line, my career the trajectory of it has changed. It has given me a confidence, it's given me a level of strength. But that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It is something that I have to work at every single day, daily, And so thank you. I mean, Zolani knows my journey. Her and I walk some of it together.
Yes.
And that's why this is a very special relationship.
Mm. Thank you, Shimmy. I'm not going to say thank you for your share, although thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Back to you.
Back to me. I'm not sharing.
Wait, can I ask Jacques a question?
Yes.
I want to talk. I'm like this, but Jacques. Now, something interesting you and I spoke about earlier on was labels. And we spoke about the influx of Western civilization that it has on our culture today. When people say, oh, they can't afford Jacques stuff. I know a couple of black people in Joburg who buys only from Louis Vuitton or Gucci. Yeah. Or people go to any Total Sport. Allemaal van ons actually. Allemaal. We all have clothing accounts. Tikkie accounts. No, we do. So, can I ask you, what is it that you think needs to happen for South Africans to have true patriotism when it comes to products?
I think it's not a color thing. It's not a color thing. Because there's white people that never support local designers. But I must be honest, I think it's when it comes to creativity in South Africa, we are far, far ahead with creativity than the rest of the world. Because a lot of Europeans actually came to South Africa and stole the ideas of an African print and then they go there. The only thing is, we don't have the manufacturing and the quality that the Europeans have. They keep it a secret. Like, I've got a client, she used to do only Karl Lagerfeld, Chanel couture, and I've got an Arab client who only does Elisab couture and my stuff. So they fly in, and I fly to them to dress them because it's about the product. And they don't look at the price tag, it's about the quality. And the thing is, I always under-promise and over-deliver. Whereas a lot of South Africans is about the ego and the ego and the ego. And the thing is, coming back to those designer brands or the people supporting them, if you know it's not Vuitton or Gucci, that's number one, it's actually Nike.
Yes, it is.
It's Nike.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's like, I don't know how many billion rand strong. Yeah. Because the thing is, everybody can afford it, but then that price of sneakers goes up to, I think, 10 million, some of them, limited editions for shoes.
Yeah.
And also you must remember, it's not a luxury brand because there's like 50,000 of the one style.
Yeah.
And they charge in euro. And people actually work only to afford that to show off.
Yeah.
And that's also, as a society, we need to change to support local, simple quality, a little unbranded T-shirt or whatever. That's what we need to change.
I like how you say as a society, because I think a lot of the time South Africans sees themselves for some obscene reason in the American sort of, style. Everything about them is very Americanized, and when we say support local, I mean, I was telling another lady, there's a lady in Woodstock, a Muslim lady, who does all of my alterations. And I believe that if we can give back to the community, to people that are South African, we can actually rebuild our own economy. Yes. We can really rebuild our own economy.
Just before COVID, I actually was in Philippines and I taught 12 ladies how to beat. And I mean, it's a project for them because they don't have money for taxi or whatever. So I went to them and said, you don't need the money. You can actually work in the comfort of your own home. This is what you do. Wash your hands, pride. And it was amazing what came out of it. So designers can actually take it to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Exactly. And also, I mean, we had an amazing production when it came to clothing. I mean, Monviso, I don't know if you remember Monviso. Monviso was run by mostly colored ladies, but where are those ladies today? Yeah. Where are they? And I mean, New York actually...
They're in the audience. This is turning into Oprah. Surprise! And behind door number 3. No.
Ta-da!
No.
In New York, actually, they asked the older set to step back into the fashion business to come and teach these young kids because they all go to these design schools, pay a fortune, but they don't have the knowledge. Yeah. And that's what I would like to actually bring back to our society. Yeah. And I mean, the Muslim guys used to have a canal. They were tailors. You don't have them anymore. Yes. Those ladies, you don't have them because I think after them, the girls became grand. They didn't want to do work. They wanted to be fashionable. Yeah. Yeah. So that's and the thing is, it is society that's brainwashing us because they keep saying you have to. And I mean, society create rules, but we can also break that fucking rules. Yeah. So I mean, break the rules.
Now we are going to be wrapping up the show in a minute. Should we go?
No, I was just going to say the only way that I feel that can happen is if South Africans take pride in who they are.
Yeah.
No, sekla. Jealousy makes you nasty.
Just before... Before we wrap up, I just want to... Shimi, anyone who is now watching the show going, I absolutely love you, I'm your new biggest fan, where can they find you? What are your social handles? And what work are you doing? Also, where can we find your stand-up online that people can watch? No, but exactly, where can we buy it?
I don't say hanky-panky my stuff to anyone online. You don't know what type of viruses are out there. I've got my brand new very first stand-up show happening on the 29th of January. This will be my very first out in public. Fire. Ooh, yeah, help me. Fire and Ice Hotel in Cape Town. That's on the 29th of January. The show is called Naughty 40s, because yes, I'm 40. And then look out for me on television. I don't want to give away too much, but I am going to make my reprising role back on Iron's Flayed sometime this year.
Shimmy's fans are outside.
So look out for that. And then if all goes well, I'll be doing another international comedy tour, which I'll take to Canada. Yeah.
Very nice.
So we'll be...
Social media.
Oh, social media. Everything is at Shimmy Isaacs, because there's only one.
Very nice. Jacques, anyone who has 9 months and R1 million spare, where can they find you?
Okay. I don't do a website. I'm the only designer with no website and no business card.
Okay.
So I on Instagram, Jacques Lagrange Couture, Facebook, Jacques Lagrange, or Jacques Lagrange Couture. That's it.
If you are watching at home, even if you are not going to buy a dress of Jacques, go and look at how beautiful these dresses are. Just to look. Even if you're not shopping, just to look at your dresses.
And
they
educate
are
yourself.
Stunning.
And also help with charity. I mean,
and help
everything's
with
on there.
charity.
So yeah.
So Jacques and Zolani.
Yes. So, sing a number. In a moment. In a moment. What was the question? Besides social media handles.
Can we find you? Where can we buy your album?
After you go to Shimmy's show on the 29th of January at Fire and Ice, Protea Hotel, you can come to the Baxter Theatre if you're in Cape Town. Sunset concerts around 6 p.m. in the outside amphitheatre. You can get your tickets at Web Tickets. Look for the one who sings, that is I. And on social media, you can also look for the one who sings. I'm out there.
You're out there.
I'm in here. I'm here.
The three of you, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've had such a good time. Shims, thanks for sharing. It was actually, I wasn't expecting everyone to go there, and it was so nice to open up. Thank you for sharing. Everybody, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Fiona.
Audience! You are awesome! We will be back with Fiona, Furey and Friends next week. Fabulous guest. It's going to be, I don't want to promise, it's going to be a very hard show for next week's.
Yeah, what you going to do next week, man? How's she going to top this?
Exactly. How am I going to top this? But I promise you we will. Thank you very much for joining us online, and do watch again next week. Thanks a lot. I love
you. He doesn't have a website on